Hi. Now, often we're hearing so much on the radio all over the place. We're being attacked by all this information about foods, and it's getting kind of confusing. So let's look at some of the basics that we're hearing a lot about. Probiotics, prebiotics, gut health. We know gut health is really critically important, but what is the prebiotic? What's the probiotic? With this, I'm going to just focus on the prebiotic. And for me, the prebiotic is very important. Just to quickly summarize, in a very simple way of explaining it, take your gut as being a garden. The prebiotic is the soil, the probiotic is the plants. It's really that simple. So what's most important, the prebiotic or the probiotic? Both are important. So prebiotics are basically high fiber vegetables, plant-based foods that give lots and lots of nutrients that our gut fauna like to eat. Literally, it is the soil that allows the probiotics within our gut to flourish. So without that being correct, you're not going to have good gut health. So certain vegetables are particularly noted for being very, very high and very good for gut health. And in particular, pulses. So we're looking at things such as black beans, all the legumes, lentils, and some whole grains. Well, pretty much all whole grains, all vegetable-based foods and plant-based foods are great for gut health. So let's look at, with this I'm using green lentils. I'm going to be using barley. I've soaked those overnight, and then I've just simply boiled them in some very, very lightly salted water. The reason I've used the green lentils here is because they're going to push up the protein. They're great for gut health. They've got so many benefits, minerals, and such a complex array of nutrients. But sometimes you'll find that with lentils and the beans, they are a little bit soft. I find the barley has a lovely chewiness to it, so it gives texture to this dish. And they're all very, very powerful prebiotics, as are all my other vegetables there, because this is a plant-based chili con carne that I'm going to be making. So we've got our carrot, our courgettes, our fennel, herbs, everything is plant-based. And all of those plant-based foods are going to feed and help give nutrients to various strains of good microorganisms that are absolutely essential to our gut health. So the more different plant and the bigger array of plant-based foods that you're bringing into your diet all the time, the better your gut is going to be. And these prebiotics are going to be flourishing, and you're going to feel a lot better. And that is so critical for arthritis management. So with this dish, again, it's very, very simple. It's a completely plant-based chili con carne. It's not going to be a very calorific dish, so you can eat a nice generous portion of it. It's going to be extremely high in fiber, quite high in proteins, because I'm going to use lots of lentils, I'm going to use lots of black beans. You could just as easily just switch those ingredients about. If you didn't have fennel, a piece of celery, you don't need to, just look at this as a template and don't be afraid to experiment. Red kidney beans would just be absolutely perfect and very easy to get instead of the black beans that I've used. I've just used a can of these. It was the easiest thing to do. So with this dish, it's a very, very simple dish. And another thing with this dish is you could put it into little containers and you could freeze it, and it'll freeze like a dream. So I'm going to get on and cook this dish. It's a very, very simple dish. There's a little bit of chopping and things to do with it, but it's a particularly good dish also for batch cooking. So thank you, and let's get cooking. First, a little drop on pan. Add your chopped onion and fry till tender. The onions have tenderized. Now add your spices, smoked paprika, cumin, your chili powder. I'm using peri peri chowder, your thyme. Give those a little stir. Now your garlic, tomato paste, and fresh tomatoes. A tin of tomatoes will be fine as well. Now add half a cup of water. And allow simmer and infuse. After about 3 or 4 minutes, take your chopped vegetables. So I have my courgette, my onion, my peppers, my leek, my carrots, and I'm going to put all of those in the pan at the same time now. Now I'm going to add a full cup of water. And keeping an eye on them, I'm going to let those vegetables simmer and cook until they start to tenderize. You may need a little bit more water if necessary. Simmer this for about 10 minutes. And you may have to add a little bit more water as it's cooking. That's all. The vegetables have now become nice and tender. And now I'm going to add my pre-cooked lentils and barley mixture. And also my black beans. I'm just going to stir those all in. And at this point, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a seasoning with some salt and pepper. Bearing in mind that I had cooked the beans, or the lentils, excuse me, in lightly salted water, which is why I hadn't used salt up to this point. And now I'm just going to allow that to simmer away for another few minutes to just all infuse together. This side point also, I'm just going to give a nice generous dash of Worcester sauce. And then allow it to cook through. And after allowing that to cook just for another few minutes, as you can see, it's all cooked through nicely. I'm now going to add finally my parsley and my tarragon. And that'll just give a nice lift of freshness towards the end of the cookery. And that is ready to eat now. So I'm just going to turn it off the heat. And then just to serve it. And then to serve, it's just a case of spooning in a nice generous portion of your vegetables and of your chili. And don't forget, this is not a very calorie dense. It's a highly nutritious dish, but it's not particularly calorie dense. So you can eat quite a large portion of this. It'll fill you up. But it's a very, very good dish for weight management as well. And then I've just got a few freshly made beetroot tortillas, which I'm just going to serve on the side. You could just as easily serve a little piece of rice on this, or whatever takes your fancy. And I'll show you how to make those at another recipe. And that is it. Ready to go. Or vegan con carni.